Hi everybody, today we are going to be talking about basic color theory. And by color theory, I mean how to mix colors. And we are start off with what are called primary colors. Primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. These happen to be just a very inexpensive store brand paint. This one is in brilliant red, brilliant yellow, and brilliant blue. You can use any variety of red, yellow, and blue, but you'll get a little bit different tints if it's not a true primary red, yellow, and blue. But we're gonna start there and we're gonna mix colors. And I know a lot of you probably know that yellow and red make orange, and then yellow and blue make green, and then red and blue make purple. But we're gonna kind of go from there, and we're going to make a color wheel, and we will show you specifically the different amounts and then of colors and how to do that. Right now, I'm just going to take this little game spinner I've got here just to trace a circle. And then I think I'll use this little bucket thing that I've got to the inside of my bucket to kind of trace another circle within it. Sorry for all the noise. They are digging a pool next door, and if I didn't know they were digging a pool, I would say they were digging to China, because they've had heavy machinery and everything coming or working all day today, and well, really for the past week. So another thing that I want you to know is that I've got 2 cups of water, of cleaning water to clean my brush. And then I've also got just a rag or a towel just to wipe off my brush for after I clean it. One thing that we're gonna do is we need to divide this wheel, because we've got 3 colors. Our 3 colors, red, yellow, and blue. And so we need to divide our color wheel, and we're gonna start by kind of doing like a triangle up here. Kind of in thirds. And I'm gonna come over here. This doesn't have to be perfect. You can totally freehand this part. I do like rulers, and I like it to be straight sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. And then we're gonna get our third triangle over here. That looks pretty good. This one needs to come down just a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to divide each of these pieces into 3. And so here's going to be one color, there's going to be another color, and so here is going to be our blue. This is going to be our yellow. And this will be our red. And so we can erase these little lines in here. Erase the lines in your big triangles. You don't have to erase them because we can just paint over the top, but to make it clean, you can just erase those. And then we're gonna divide this side into 3, and then we're going to divide this into 3 as well. Okay, and so yellow and blue, we're going to have green right here, because yellow and blue make green. And then over here, yellow and red make orange. I know you probably think I say that strange, and I know I do. I know a lot of people say orange, but I call it orange. I always have, and even my own family has always thought that that was funny. And then blue and red make purple. Okay, so we are just going to take Oh, the reason why I have the 2 water cups is one is for cool colors and one is for warm colors. And so our cool colors are going to be our yellow through blue, and kind of like right here to about right here, excuse me, not yellow. Yellow is a warm color. So kind of blue up through here, and then our warm colors are going to come down with yellow into red, and then some of that. So because if you mix your colors in it, it's going, if you take your brush after you've, say, done blue in your triangle, and I'm just filling in blue in my triangle right here. So after I do blue, see, I mix it in the water and then I pick up red paint. Well, if I don't clean it all the way, I might get some blue still on my paintbrush, and so then my red is going to be tainted with blue and it'll make purple already. I had a really kind of sad experience with that. I was painting a portrait of just kind of a fantasy girl, and I was doing a blue background, and then I went to paint her face, and instead of changing my water, I just thought, oh, I just need to finish this, and I thought I knew better than the colors, and I dipped my paintbrush to do her face, which was warm colors like peaches and pinks and that. And I dipped it in the blue paint, and it made her face all gray and muddy and yucky. And so I had to start over. And so this one is going to be my cool color. And another thing that you can do to make sure you don't mix paintbrushes is just grab another paintbrush. And so I'll show you how to do that too. I'm just cleaning off my paintbrush. And then I'll get my yellow. And this is just straight out of the bottle paint on our primary colors. And just if I'm kind of messing around, I like the square tip brush. It is one of my favorites. Round tip, I just don't feel like gets fine enough into these little areas and crevices. So, and you'll notice that sometimes I do switch hands when I paint. Not all the time, but once in a while. Typically when I'm painting like a larger painting on a canvas, I'll do the big free fluid motions with my right hand, and then I'll do the more tight detailed motions with my left, because I'm naturally left-handed. But I cut with scissors with my right hand, and I also I chop food and use a knife with my right hand, but I eat and draw left-handed and right. Okay, again, this is just brilliant red, brilliant yellow, and brilliant blue, all straight out of the tube. And we're just filling in these triangles. These triangles I wanted bigger than our other little sections of our pie, because I want you to remember that each of these is the primary color. And with these 3 colors, you can make all other colors. Okay, and so this is a warm color, and so I'm going to mix my red into the warm color, or warm washing water. Okay, just wipe it off. See, I've got a little bit of red on there still. That's what I mean. If you've got that and then dip into the blue, you end up with a little tinge of purple, which sometimes is fun, but sometimes you don't want that at all. You just got to go in and do a better job of cleaning. And then, okay, what should we do first? Let's do orange. Okay, so we are going to mix over here equal parts yellow and red. And I'm always going to start out with the lighter color first. And then what I do when I mix paint is I just come over here and I just grab some paint from the side. But that's not enough because that's not as much red as there is yellow. And so I want to try to get the best I can to mix it and mix that together. This looks a little bit too red to me. So I'm going to get some more yellow paint and mix that in. I'm just going to mix and mix and mix until we get the color that we want. And that color is orange. Okay, now we're going to come over to the orange box or shape section. We're going to fill in our orange piece. Like I said before, it doesn't need to be perfect at all. We just want to get those colors down. Make sure. And now that's a warm color. And so I want to make sure I clean that really good. Now we're going to come in and we're going to make some green. And so we're going to start off with our lighter and then get some of our blue. I'm going to start mixing. And I can already tell that I'm going to need some more yellow because this is not quite green to me. That's a little too turquoise. And turquoise is yellow and blue, but with more blue than yellow. And we'll get to that color, but just not yet. I'm back, and we actually had a bit of a technical issue, and for whatever reason I stopped recording to pick up my kids from school, and when I came back to record it was, or when I looked at it to see how it recorded, it was completely white and I had audio but no video. And being as we're doing a color wheel, I don't really think that is useful. And so here I am. I redid my color chart, my color wheel. This one was my original. And so I did all this, and you guys could hear me, but you couldn't do anything else. You couldn't see it. So we have started over, and I've got my primary, my red, yellow, and blue, and then I've got my orange and green, and now I'm mixing up some violet. And remember, violet is purple and red because it's in between these two primary colors. I'm just gonna test over here on some blank paper. In one way, violet can just be so darn dark, and so one way I test violet to see if I've got the right ratio. Whoops, I just got a bunch of paint on me from another brush that was sitting there. So one of the ways that I test violet is to mix in some white. And if it ends up looking, see, in that, mixing in that white, it looks a little too blue-gray. So to me, I know I need to mix in some more red. But I'm gonna switch brushes because I've got white on this brush and I wanna keep that clean. And so, let me grab another brush over here. So I'm just mixing in some more red to make this more of a true purple. With that, I can tell there, I'll grab some here, but I can tell here that that's much more of a lavender. I don't know if you can tell. That's more of a blue-gray, and this one's definitely more of a lavender. So that means we've got violet. So I'm going to take my paintbrush and load it up with some violet. It's going to be super dark, but that's what happens sometimes. Violet is such a deep, deep color. And so we've got our violet. Okay, now what we're going to do is we've got our, basically orange is equal parts of yellow and red. Green is equal parts of yellow and blue. Violet is equal parts blue and red. Thereabouts. There's a little bit of nuances to different types of colors, and depending on which types of red or which types of blue and green, like if you use a phthalo blue and a phthalo green and a crimson red, you're going to get a slightly different color combinations than you would if you used primary red, yellow, and blue, or different things like that. And so you can totally mix it up and try and do just play with what you've got, but you really only need 3 primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. So now we're going to go into a little bit more color mixing. Now in between green and yellow is going to be yellow-green, and in between orange and yellow is going to be yellow-orange. In between orange and red is going to be red-orange. In between red and violet is going to be red-violet. Between blue and violet is going to be blue-violet. And then between blue and green is going to be a blue-green. Now you'll notice with each of these colors, these mid colors, we're always going to be saying the primary color first. So we're not ever going to say, oh, it's a green-blue, because you're not going to have that as a dominant color, because that's a primary color, and you're going to have more blue than you're going to have green in it. And so the color that you have the most of in the combination is going to come first. So we're going to make blue-green right now. Actually, I don't have a lot of yellow, so we're going to make yellow-green right now. Whoops. I'm just getting paint all over me today. Okay, so we're gonna mix up. I think I just might need to put some more, because I'm gonna need the yellow for the yellow orange too. I'm just gonna put a dab right there for our purposes. Normally I wouldn't recommend doing that and just putting a blob right in the middle of what you're mixing, but for this purpose, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. And this is quite a bit of paint, so I'll just save this palette for another time. And remember, the way you can save paint is to just slide your palette Remember, the way to save paint is to just slide your palette into a Ziploc bag, and you'll be able to save that. Let's see. Okay. So normally I wouldn't recommend just squirting out a bunch of paint right from the tube into what you're mixing, but for this purpose it's fine, because I actually am going to use more of these colors later in a different project, and so I'm just going to save my paint. And if you'll remember how we save paint from one of my other videos, is you just take your palette and you slide it into a gallon Ziploc bag or whatever will fit your plate or palette, and zip that up, and you'll have fresh paint there for you, waiting for you. Okay, so I have mixed up a yellow green, which means it's got more yellow than green, which means it has more yellow. It's closer on the color wheel to yellow than it is to blue. And so we're just going to lay this down. At least you don't hear the construction anymore. You hear my clock. It's a lot better than digging to China with to get a pool poured. Okay, so there's our yellow green. Now to make the green, the blue green, which is kind of like a turquoisey teal kind of color, we're just going to mix a bunch more blue in here. I want some more blue in there. It's not quite blue enough for me. That's what's awesome with mixing colors, is you can always mixing primary colors, I should say. You can always mix a little bit more of one in. If you went too far, I could put more yellow in, or some more of this green that's on my outside. So there's always a way to come back. And if you feel like you can't come back, you just start over. Okay. So there's our blue, green, teal kind of color. I would actually like to see a little bit more blue. It's looking a little too green to me. There, I think I may have just gotten it. Okay. And that doesn't need to be perfect at all. Just gonna rinse my brush a little bit. Okay, now we're going to come in and we're going to go with the blue violet. And so I'm going to mix my blue in with my violet. I'm gonna need a little bit more red. Okay. And this one's going to be a little bit of a deep color too. Not as deep, but I'm just gonna thin it out with a little bit of water so you can see it more. It's definitely got some violet in there. Could use a titch more. There we go. It's definitely blue and definitely a little bit of violet in there. Okay. Now we're gonna go red violet. And so I got my paintbrush over here still, or my paint over here. And so I'm just going to got a little bit too much water on my brush, but this color right now is already looking really nice. I like this for my red violet. See, it's definitely there we go. It's definitely not violet, but it's more red than violet, and so we are on the right track there. Now we want to go to our red orange. I'm just mixing this in with my warm colors. Okay, so we're going to get red orange. I've still got my orange here in my orange paintbrush, so we're just going to get some more red paint. This paintbrush is kind of overkill. I don't need quite this big, but sometimes you just do and use what's close to you. And that's what I'm doing right now. And there's our red orange. Remember, we always say our primary color first. And it's just telling you that that is a combination of red and orange. Now we're going to move to yellow orange. So I don't need my giant one. Just gonna get that cleaned off right here quick. Okay, now I'm gonna grab my yellow paint, whoops, and come in here . Get that so you can see that a bit better, but then it gives me a glare. And that's not super helpful. Yep, that'll work. And so here is our yellow orange. Okay, there you have it, folks. We started out with red, yellow, and blue, and then we made orange, green, and violet. And then we went around our color wheel and we made our yellow, green. Let's see, I don't remember where we started, but we'll start with yellow, green. We've got yellow, green, and then we've got blue, green. We've got blue, violet, red, violet, red orange right here, and then our yellow orange. And so that is just a basic color wheel. These are our primary colors, these larger ones, red, yellow, and blue. These are secondary colors, violet, orange, and green, or purple, orange, and green. And that just means that when you have two primary colors, they create a secondary color. And so that's what basic color theory is. And what's so awesome is that you don't need a ton of different colors of fancy different paint. You just need the primary colors as bare minimum, and you can do wonderful things with it. Thank you for watching. I hope you had fun. Please give me a thumbs up if you liked this video, and hit that subscribe button right down there in the bottom right corner, and hit the bell button if you want to receive notifications for when I post weekly videos. I'd love to hear from you. Please comment below if you have any questions or ideas for videos that you would like to see in the future. Have a great day.